Okay, welcome back to another virtual pet tutorial. This one is about controlling your animations with broadcast and receive, events, and variables. Okay, so this is what my movie looks like right now. If I click here are the go and the stop buttons, the green flag and the red stop sign. If I click my movie, this is pretty much what it looks like. I'm going to hide these buttons except for the bring the bear to life button. I'm going to first just hide those, so that's pretty easy to do. Your entire controlling of your animation occurs with these scripts, and there's so many different scripts, and the possibilities are unlimited. You can change the motion of like your bear. You can move the bear from like here to here. We'll do that later. Um, you can change the looks of the bear and also the backdrop. That's what we're going to work on right now. You can add sounds. We'll do that later. We'll also be using the events and the control scripts. But we'll also be using a data, which is a variable. We'll add some variables to help us control it, pretty much like a light switch. You'll see that in a second. But first, let's hide the buttons. So I'm going to click on each one of these buttons. When the green flag is clicked, I'm actually going to change their looks to hiding them. Okay, when the green flag is clicked, I'm going to hide the berries button. I'm actually going to show the green bring bear to life button. That's like the start button. I'll leave that one. But the fish, definitely going to hide that one. And the play button, going to hide that one. So let's click the green flag. There, the buttons are hidden. Now I want to make the stage, the backdrop, switch to my start screen. Okay, so similarly, when the green flag is clicked, let's change the looks to the start screen. Boom. Try it. Boom. Okay. And then lastly, I want the bear to sleep when the movie starts. So I'm going to click on the bear, and we can say when the green flag is clicked, also, okay, let's have the bear change his looks. Switch costume to sleeping. I have two sleepings, 1 and 2, and that's fine. There we go, the bear's sleeping. Now, he's not really sleeping, he's just laying there. So I want to basically toggle between these two costumes of the bear. Sleeping 1 and sleeping 2. Oops. Here's sleeping 2. 1 and 2. Okay. I want to basically program this using the scripts, the colorful code. Okay? So I'll show you kind of how to do that right here. We'll switch to costume sleeping 1. We'll also switch to costume sleeping 2. Now, this actually does not work because these blocks, they fire pretty much instantaneously. If I click the green button, you'll notice it works once, but then that's pretty much all you see. Okay? This is when the control blocks come in handy. You actually want to add time, between these, like that. 1 Mississippi. 1 second is default. But again, that works like once and then you don't see it again. What you need to use is like a forever loop, okay, where you can basically do that forever. And if you click the green flag, notice how it's forever going to be breathing. But notice how his chest is like dipping down there. It's kind of irregular. We're actually missing, if this is a loop, then we're missing yet one more wait 1 second script between this purple switch statement and this one. So you simply need another one there, and that will actually fix the problem. And the bear is going to forever sleep. However, there's a problem with Scratch 2 that I've noticed, that this bear, now that he is forever sleeping, when we do other things down the road, that Scratch continues to want to run this forever loop. Okay, so there's a little bit of an issue that we have to overcome. This actually doesn't work too well, I've noticed. So we have to use what's called a variable to help us control it, kind of like a light switch. Once it's on, we turn it on, but then we can also flip it off to cancel it, okay? And I'll show you what I mean by that. When you make a variable, you want it to be very, very specific to what you're working on, like right now. Like right now, the bear is sleeping at the start screen. That's literally what I'm going to name my variable. Bear sleeping at start. Okay? And we're always going to make these variables visible for all sprites. That's important. Okay? And when you make a variable, it gives you various options for that variable. For instance, it does show it by default. That's fine. We're going to hide it once we're done with this. You can also change it by different values. And we're just going to use the value 1 for like on and the value 0 for off. Just like, again, think of a light switch. It's either going to be on or it's going to be off, okay? And this is where the show and the hide is, okay? So we're going to use that in a second. And go back to the events. The control blocks. So I said that this forever doesn't really work. But what does work really well is this repeat until. Okay, this is like, it's called a while loop. It's like it's going to repeat until, while something's going on, or while something is equal to something. Okay, so we're just going to drag all of these costume changes into here. Just toss the forever. Okay. Now, right at the very beginning, I'm going to set this bear sleeping at start. He is sleeping, so I'm going to set him equal to 1. Okay, so let's do that. Set the bear sleeping at start to 1, the value of 1. So I'll show you what that looks like. This 0 should change to 1. There we go. So it's at 1 and he's sleeping. Great. Let's let it repeat until it actually becomes 0. Okay? So we're going to notice that this little geometric shape does not match those orange scripts. Where you'll find those as an operator. It's actually looking for like an equality operator in this case. And we're gonna repeat this until this bear is equal to 0. Okay. Now something's gonna have to set it to 0. We'll control that in a second. Okay. So again, I'm gonna stop the movie and I'm gonna run it. The value is set at 1 because we set the variable to 1 here. So the bear sleeping variable is at 1, and the bear is indeed switching costumes. And it's repeating and repeating and repeating until that value is going to be 0. Okay? So we set that value equal to 0 on what's called a broadcast. Okay? And something's going to broadcast, which is called creating an event that all of the other sprites can like look for or listen to. Okay? That event is going to be triggered when this button is clicked. Okay? So I'm going to click on this button, this BTN start, and I'm going to make what's called a broadcast for it. Let's go to event, broadcast. When this sprite is clicked, let's broadcast. Let me make a new message. Button, bring bear to life. There we go. You could have named yours button start, doesn't matter. Boom. Okay, when this sprite is clicked, we're going to make a broadcast that says button bring bear to life. Great. And with that, we're going to make the bear stop sleeping and stand up. Okay. Well, to stop sleeping, we now have to, we'll go back to, there's different ways we can do this, so I'm just trying to think. I think we can set the variable right here. That'd probably be the easiest thing. Let's set that variable that we had on the bear. Remember, the variable was attached to the bear right here. Set the bear sleeping to start to 1. Well, the button, we're going to set that variable equal to 0. So that should then cancel this repeat while loop. Perfect. You know what? I am confusing you guys. I'm actually going to control the variables of the bear in the bear sprite itself. So I'm just going to throw that away, and I'm just going to leave this broadcast right here. When this sprite is clicked, broadcast that. So now I'm going to go back to the bear. I think this will be better. And let's do what's called a receive. So when I receive that broadcast, this is where I'm going to set that variable equal to 0 right here. Boom. Then I'm going to do something very similar to this. I'm going to change the bear's costumes. And I think that I'm going to have him look like, I'll have him doing, oops, let me stop this so I can see the different costumes. I'm going to have him go from normal to normal breathing, like this. Okay? So let's go to the scripts and change his costume. Switch costume to normal. Switch costume to normal breathing. Like that. You could even, if you wanted to, switch costume to normal eyes closed. Like that. Then we need some time in between those. Wait. 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 And when you blink, normally it doesn't take a second to blink. It'll take more like a half a second. I'll do 0.2. Okay. And then we need like another repeat. Repeat until, boom, like that. So, let me just show you what this is going to look like without the repeat until. If we put a forever here, boom, put these in there. This will look good. Let's try it. I'm going to click the stop. When I click this, this value is going to be 1, and the bear should be sleeping. Let's try it. Value is 1, bear sleeping. But when I click this green button, we're going to create a broadcast that's called button bring bear to life. And then the bear is going to receive that broadcast. Here we go. And at the same time, right after I click the button, this value should be 0. Watch for that. And then the switch costume. Wait, why is this out here? Why didn't you tell me that? Okay. It should stand up and look like it's like awake. Here we go. Boom. Great. So we have turned off the sleeping, and the bear is now like awake. Perfect. However, similarly, we're going to, when we want the bear like to move his arms or to play or something like that, we're going to run into a problem where it won't be able to break out of this forever loop. We're going to have to control that conditionally using this repeat until. Okay. So we actually need another variable at this point. For every action of the bear you're going to do, you're actually going to have like a different variable. Again, you're going to make it very specific. Okay, the variables are orange. Go to the orange block. Let's make a new variable. We'll just say bear breathing normally. Like that. Okay? And again, 1 is going to be on, 0 is going to be off. So we'll pull this out here. Go to the operators, pull out an equality operator. And we're going to set that equal to what value? 1. Repeat until, no, sorry. We're going to repeat this until that's 0. Sorry, I missed a step. We have to set bear breathing normally to 1. Boom. So the bear sleeping is going to be 0. That's going to be done. And the bear breathing normally is just going to be set to 1. And we're going to repeat this costume changes until something else sets that variable equal to 0. Until something else turns that off. Okay? Great. We're going to click this. Stop. Click the green flag. This variable is at 1. Click the green Bring Bear to Life button. Broadcast that event. There it goes. Notice that it almost had a hard time getting out of the sleep state. I saw it like do a little flip there. That's why we're using variables. Because without the variables, I'm finding that it's really hard to break out of these control blocks like the forevers, okay? What else can we do? When we receive button bring bear to life, we need to switch this backdrop. So let's do that. I'm going to click on the stage, click on the events. When I receive button bring bear to life, let's change the looks to a different backdrop. Hillside. And the hillside is this one right there. Here we go. Stop, start, click the button. There we go. The bear is standing in the water right now. That's not okay. Let's have him move like over here. Okay. So, I'm going to stop it. And let's do it. Go to scripts. We'll have the bear switch costume to normal breathing. We'll have him move just a little bit. There are two different ways to move. You can have him move, you can have him glide. Okay? Glide is pretty easy. It actually looks a little bit better. Glide 1 second to, let me throw this up. 1 Mississippi, that's awfully fast. I'm going to have it glide 3 seconds to a certain X and Y position. The X and Y position I'm going to have, it will be about like here. Okay, if you follow my cursor, and then follow these X and Y coordinates, this is where you will find locations inside of this the stage. Okay, so I want him to go to about negative 150, negative 50. Doesn't have to be exact. Minus 150, Y minus 150. So type minus 150 and minus 50. Is that right or am I backwards? That should be it. Okay, let's try it. Stop, start, bear sleeping, bring bear to life. Interesting. Notice that he is not gliding 3 seconds up here. Why is that? Well, it's because this repeat until loop is continually going on until this is a different value. Okay? So this is where you can use what's called parallel processing, parallel programming. Okay? You can have two different events that are the same going on at one time. When I receive button bring bear to life, bear to life, you can have him gliding at the same time you're setting the variables and setting his costume. So let's do that. Start over, click the green flag, sleeping, bring bear to life, the value changes, and he changes. Not too bad. It works. It's kind of goofy the way he was still sleeping there, but it works. Okay. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial. See you later. Bye.